Steady hands, Ben, steady hands. Clayton's been replaced today with Ben. So we have a MK7R. I can't remember, Clayton doesn't remember if we did an intro to this, so I'm doing it now. It was in for a turbo upgrade. Oh, maybe we did an intro, I don't know. Don't even remember. It got the Vortex XL turbo upgrade. It got an Autotech high pressure fuel pump, Cobb Accessport with EQT. We're doing an E-tune with Ed from EQT. So the rest of the mods on it consist of iBox springs, RPF1 wheels, as you can see. This thing looks perfect in my opinion. It's like very, very nice looking MK7R, especially the color. It has a CTS upgraded downpipe, stock catback exhaust, the MST intake and inlet, and it has a K&N drop-in filter in it. And that's, oh yeah, and BFI engine mounts, which I think I kind of went through all that, which you'll probably see in the video of going install and all that stuff that's going to happen with it. So now it's time to finish up the tune and see what we can make for power on our 91 octane. Okay, so before we get into the mods that are going on this thing, the current setup is upgraded CTS downpipe, Cobb Accessport with EQT Stage 2 software, and obviously it has some suspension mods and a set of RPF ones on it, which look amazing on this car, I must add. So let's get to what we're going to be putting on it. We're doing an MST turbo inlet and intake portion. We're doing a new set of plugs, a set of BFI engine transmission mounts with the insert. We're going to be doing the Autotech high pressure fuel pump rebuild kit. Obviously the cream of the crop here, the main focus on this setup is the EQT Vortex XL. We do need to swap over the actuator, which isn't a big deal, but we're going to be using the actuator off its existing turbo and just calibrating it properly. We're also going to be doing a CTS front mount intercooler kit as well. And we're going to be doing a dyno session with EQT to see what this Vortex XL can make on our crappy 91 octane. So let's get to swapping on all the parts before we get it on the dyno. Okay, for the first upgrade, we need to get this in there. Whoops. Okay, so we got the high pressure fuel pump out and apart. As you can see, there's a few pieces to this puzzle. Essentially, we're going to be replacing this piece with, this piece and this piece with this from the Autotech kit. And then they just hold the piece in a little bit different with some keepers, just like a valve gets held in. So we're gonna get it all cleaned up, then get it back together, and then put it back in the car. Okay, while the bumper and stuff is off, I also did the motor mounts, which you can see. And the plugs have been changed, the fuel pump's been done, as you probably would have seen, and the new turbo is in, although it looks like stock. It's in place. There's the old one, the IS-38 that came out of it. And we're ready to just put the intake on and get the bumper and everything back on. So it's all back together. We replaced the filter in the stock intake with the K&N filter because he's still using the stock intake box, as you can see. We replaced the intake, the inlet pipe, obviously the turbo. I'm leaving the cover off of it right now because obviously it's going on the dyno and we need to get tack signal. So it just needs to have some coolant in it and we're ready to get it on the rollers. That didn't go as planned for the first couple of runs. We had a problem with the high pressure fuel pump and fuel pressure dropping off. We've done countless of these Autotech fuel pump rebuild kits from previous generations to now the MK7R. The rebuilds are very, very similar with this setup. This was brand new, literally. It went from being all the hardware being installed, the pump being installed, meaning the turbo gear and all that, and the pump being installed right onto the dyno, and we immediately had problems. And if you can see, we got a small piece of dirt in the rebuild, and that basically made this useless. So I just so happened to have new pumps on the way. They showed up today, and we got the pump rebuilt, being very, very cautious to make sure there's no dirt or anything in there. Again, we've done this countless times, and still end up having a problem just by fluke. A little piece of dirt got in there and caused some grief. So time to get it back in the car, give this another attempt. Okay, let's see what we can do with the working high pressure fuel pump. All right, let's go. Looking good. Problems fixed. 377, 323 on the very first run. Clearly we fixed the fuel pump issue. Revs out to like 7,500 now. And we're going to basically stop for today. We're going to link up with EQT again. And we're going to dial in this tune. See what we can get out of this on our junky 91. Okay, so we're ready to do another run here and actually start the tuning process with EQT on this one. We've done a couple runs just to make sure the pump was good on the base file. It was doing like 377. I think we probably have footage of that. So now we're going to do a run with the first revision on it. Probably going to see a little bit more power at this point because everything looked good on the first run. Okay, we're logging. We're ready to go. Pretty good jump immediately. So that one, it did 405, 328 torque. Remember, 91 octane. It's got the stock map sensors and stuff in it as well. So it's just the Vortex XL. I would have gone through the whole list of parts, but the main stuff for the turbo was the Vortex XL and the high pressure fuel pump. Okay, so now we're going to upload a new file to the Accessport for another revision. Yes, I'm going to copy. So now that that's all done, we're going to actually flash it to the car. We've ejected the Accessport from the PC. Just choose the file. And we're just going to flash the newest file to the car. Yes, we're connected. And now we'll just go through and flash, and then when we're ready, we'll fire it up and try again. Okay, so we're going to do another run. We're going to probably go up a gear on this one, a little more load on the engine, so it should make a little bit more boost and likely a little bit more horsepower. Alright, it made a lot more torque and a lot more low end power. We'll show you on the graph. There'll probably be another adjustment from this one, but that run it made 408, 375 torque. This is a huge difference in the torque. So let's look at the log and chat with Ed, see what we can do with this thing. Okay, so I don't know, I'm not getting out of the car. You can see that the last two runs were 404, 408. Torque on the last one was the highest yet, 382. Right in here got cleaned up from the last run, so there's a bit more torque, and the torque curve is getting a lot flatter now. So I suspect we're probably going to have another couple of updates yet. But to give you guys an idea, kind of the goal for this was to make 400. If we could clip 400 with our junky fuel, then we knew it would be on the right track and be very happy, especially where the car dynoed before. I don't think I've included any of that in this video, but it was a different tune and some things have changed with the setup. So now it's EQT Software, EQT TCU software as well with their turbo. But the biggest thing for us is the fueling. So to hit over 400 with this setup is really good. Obviously we're going to try for a little bit more, but the main thing is just cleaning things up now, and we're already at the goal, so everything from this point on is just going to be a bonus. So we'll probably have another couple more to go, but we're getting to kind of the limits of where we're going to see boost wise, because it still has stock sensors, and what we're going to see for horsepower here. Little more flat torque curve again. 406, 384 torque, which is the most torque we made yet. Looking pretty fresh. We maybe do 1 or 2 more runs, but we'll probably do, I'll show you the graphs and kind of where we started and where we ended up. All right, 407, that one, 382. There's a little bit of a dip in it, and I suspect that is due to our crappy fuel and it knocking probably a little bit more. So power, I mean, the last few runs have been 408, 407, 406, all around there. I think it was 408, then 406, now 407. So horsepower is pretty near right where we're gonna be. We just gotta take a look at this log, and then I'll show you guys kind of where we started and where we ended up here. Okay, so we finished up. It took us like, I think we did 14 runs. Some of those runs originally would have been when we had the first high pressure fuel pump in it and we had an issue with it, and we swapped that out to a new high pressure fuel pump. We've done lots of them. I would have explained it in the video, but things happen. We had a piece of dirt in there and we got it replaced, and we finished up the tune today. So we ended with, we did lots of runs between like 406, 408 horsepower. The best run probably was 407, 382 torque, kind of just a mixture of both. Ben, you want to come in and kind of show this? The 408 run was early on, and we were cleaning up torque, or Ed was. I was just basically the middleman in this case. But yeah, so this one would be pump gas, 91 octane. Chatting with Ed, he said that with upgraded sensors, we could probably see another 30 wheel horsepower on this fuel. So pretty cheap upgrade to get a bit more power out of this thing, especially on our fuel. The other thing is that we did notice that the PCV system should be swapped out now. This engine has 100K on it, kilometers, which would be like 60 something miles. And we are noticing a bit of smoke due to that. But that's going to be it for this one. Really good numbers for what we're working with for fuel, and knowing that there's a bit more in it yet with just a simple sensor upgrade. If you have any questions or comments, be sure to ask them below. Ben, anything else to add? Nothing? Just bye. Bye! Probably just put the camera on a tripod and mimic you exactly right now.
I'm better than a tripod.
Ooh. We'll have to cut that out, Clayton. Cut. So now you press the red button.